How's everybody doing today? The Miami Heat going to the 2023 NBA Finals. The knocking out the Boston Celtics 103-84 in blowout fashion. Kudos to Heat coacher. Kudos to Eric Spoelstra for having his team play some of the best defense that we've seen. Kudos to Jimmy Butler for taking accountability for Game 6 loss, knowing that he has to be better. He showed out and balled out, let the league, everybody in scoring today. Kudos to Caleb Martin for having the game of his life. 26 points in discussion for Eastern Conference MVP talks, but that went to Jimmy Butler. That was all right. So Heat coacher, we gotta have the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets. Game 1 of the NBA Finals Thursday night on ABC. That was an absolute masterclass. Everybody making fun of Miami. Everybody counting them out. Everybody saying, oh, Boston's going to beat them. They're going to be the first team to come back down 3-0. After that, Derek Wright, incredible Game 6 putback, buzzer beating game winner for Miami to remain composed and to compete at a super high level and to lock down Jaylen Brown, who was an absolute travesty today. Miami out-muscled, out-hustled, outsmarted. Eric Spoelstra absolutely destroyed, abused, annihilated, and humiliated rookie head coach Joe Mazzulla in devastating fashion, a knockout blow. That was a first-round knockout by Eric Spoelstra for what he did to Joe Mazzulla. A lot of drama in this season's NBA. Because if Miami would have lost this, Jimmy Butler would have been diminished, all his playoff success. But we all know that Jimmy Butler is not going to allow that to happen. I picked Miami to win it before this game started. As you can see from my tweet, I have Miami winning 98-96. I just knew that Jimmy Butler had that strong, unbreakable mindset that he's going to pull through. Jimmy Butler has a lot of heart and passion, and knowing what he does, even if he didn't have a good shooting game, which he missed a bunch of shots today, but he remained patient, excellent defensively, 12 of 28 from the field. Jimmy Butler did have 3 steals, especially that defense on Jaylen Brown. That was a special masterclass by Jimmy. I can't say enough amazing things about Jimmy Butler. Y'all thought he was going to blow a 3-0 lead. I mean, he did talk a lot of shit doing this timeout thing with Al Horford in Game 3 when they were up 3-0. And then Miami just laid an egg for the last couple of games. And they honestly should have won Game 6. But to battle it out like that and win Game 7, but that's not to discredit Jason Tatum, who unfortunately the first possession of the game, he torqued his ankle and he was not the same. Absolutely not the same. And he just did not have it. He tried to compete out there when I knew Jason Tatum was taken out in the first quarter and missed some time. And he missed like 4 minutes of that end of the first quarter. I knew Boston was going to be in trouble. You just kind of sensed it. Like, he didn't have it on defense. He was hobbling like crazy. Like, if this was a regular season game, Jason Tatum would not have returned. And we all know that. So, but that's not an excuse for Boston. That was not an excuse. No, Jason Tatum was not fine. He was obviously injured too. Let's not get out of hand here. Miami deserved to win. And even if Tatum didn't get hurt, the Heat probably still would have won. So with that, what the hell happened with Jaylen Brown? Where he at? Absolutely terrible. Are you kidding me? Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, so subscribe, hit the subscribe button right now. Miami Heat up 3-0. Game 7. Never felt a taste of defeat. Got the Celtics beat. Never relinquished their big lead. Caleb Martin played like regular season James Harden. Lit up the garden. Many casuals tune in. Never heard of him. 6 points, I beg your pardon. Jaylen Brown played like an absolute clown. Turnover machine. Jimmy Butler stripped you clean. Supermax extension. You deserve detention. Superstar my ass, not even a mention. 8 of 23, season over. Now you free. 103-84, Boston Celtics deserve no more. Not dependable. Joe Mazzulla's future, not very sure. So, Jaylen Brown's future, was he tanking this game? He had some discomfort with Boston. I mean, that team, like Charles Barkley said it best, they have stupid, dumb basketball IQ. They play like individuals out there. I mean, they play super selfish. And Jaylen Brown was an absolute travesty today. Absolutely caught garbage. 8 fucking turnovers. I mean, he was having nightmares of Victor Oladipo's last playoffs. And JB, he has to be better. He was super terrible with the ball, with those terrible decisions. That offensive foul that was unnecessary on the corner. All those fucking turnovers, man. What the hell is wrong with Jaylen Brown? He still can't dribble. Still got exposed from last season. And getting outplayed like that, what's his next contract? 236 million or something like that? 292? Hell no. Hell to the freaking no. Jaylen Brown, he does not deserve a Supermax. He's not even the best player in the 2016 draft class. Because right now, it's looking like Jamal Murray. He would absolutely school Jaylen Brown in a hurry. So Brown, nah. He doesn't have the ball handling abilities. Him and Jason Tatum, there's no playmaker on Boston. No cohesiveness. Their offensive flow, I mean, they're a way more talented team than Miami, for sure. But they can't execute right offensively. Joe Mazzulla, he absolutely did learn on the fly, so I'll give him a little more respect, but he's still a rookie head coach. Not anymore. When next season comes, but Brown, when Jason Tatum was struggling and he didn't have much lift on those legs, it was Jaylen Brown who was supposed to take over. But he was lost and not found the whole game. Where the hell has he been? Game 7 on your home floor to get blown out like that, to get destroyed. When you're supposed to be an all-NBA caliber player? Did Miami even have an all-NBA player on this team? For JB to score 8 of 23, shoot from the field, a minus 17, absolutely terrible performance. So bad. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum combined, 13 of 36, shooting the ball. Al Horford, sadly, this might be his final NBA game. He gave it all he had, but he had 8 and 8. You can't expect Al Horford to give you much more. I do respect the hell out of Derek White for having a game high for the second leading scorer for the Celtics. 18 points on 12 shots. Derek White took it to the basket. He understood that Jason Tatum did not have it, and White was aggressive looking to score. So I kudos to Derek White for not only hitting the game-winning shot to keep his team alive. His team couldn't deliver, honestly. But he was aggressive, and he was attacking guys like Gabe Vincent out there. And White, he played aggressive, so I kudos to him. He was one of the only positives for the Boston Celtics. How about Grant Williams? Oh, Boston's not signing him. Hell no. I mean, he might have played his last game with the Celtics. I believe he's going to be a free agent. Robert Williams played pretty solid. I'm surprised Rob Will didn't play that much. He gave Jimmy Butler a hard time in the first half of the game and really made life difficult in the paint for Jimmy Butler. He also blocked one of his shots. So Robert Williams came to play today off the bench. My goodness. And the Boston Celtics, you know who else is an absolute travesty? His name is the president of Basketball Players Association, Malcolm Brogdon. 0 fucking points for Malcolm Brogdon. Are you kidding me, Malcolm Brogdon? Malcolm Brogdon's supposed to be brought in for the Celtics to help with the playmaking duties, to take some of the pressure off Marcus Smart, who's not a true playmaker. Where the fuck Malcolm Brogdon at? I mean, he was injured. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon's super injury prone. My God, he's been injury prone. And the most important game when his team needed him to step up, he absolutely was a no-show today, Malcolm Brogdon. Are you kidding me? No wonder why the Milwaukee Bucks got rid of Malcolm Brogdon and still ended up winning a championship. We all know Malcolm Brogdon, the fakest 50, 40, 90 in NBA history, Malcolm Brogdon. His name's up there with the Steve Nashes and the Viskies of the world. My God, that hurts my eye seeing that. Malcolm Brogdon was terrible. He's absolutely not worth more than $12 million a year. Ineffective. For Boston, He was supposed to be the one that helped the C's offense and not have them struggle. But he made zero fucking impact this game and much of this series. Jason Tatum got hurt. He was a monster in Game 7 against Philadelphia when he was shit for most of Game 6 and then turned it around. I also blame the Philadelphia 76ers and Doc Rivers, a terrible coach now these days. He can't get past Joe Mazzulla. Philadelphia had a chance to get to the NBA Finals. We could have saw an Embiid Jokic showdown, but Joel, not built for the playoffs. James Harden, not built for the postseason. And now we have the hardest working Eastern Conference All-Star player in Jimmy Butler, who just wants it more than anybody, who believes in his teammates, who's one of the best leaders in the NBA. He might not always have a good game, but Jimmy Butler, he believes in guys like Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, Eric Spoelstra, believing in Duncan Robinson. And hell, even Bam Adebayo, who played like crap for most of the series offensively, he made some nice defensive plays. Bam, he kept being in it and played aggressive. The Miami Heat, man, Eric Spoelstra, a super special coach. Eric Spoelstra in 5 years or a couple years from now, Spoelstra absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because not only has he led a big three with LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh to multiple NBA Finals, but this big three with Jimmy Butler, Gabe Vincent, and Caleb Martin to the NBA Finals. Goat Spoelstra, the best head coach in the entire National Basketball Association. And for LeBron in 2010 or 2011 to try to have the audacity to go up to Pat Riley wanting to fire Spoelstra. Spoelstra's an amazing coach. He really is. He's a genius. Getting his guys together. You see from the press conference in Game 6 when Spoelstra's like, we're going to come out and win. We don't know how we're going to win. I don't have the answers for how we're going to win, but we're going to come out and win. All that positive energy translated from top to bottom. This is why the Miami Heat has made 2 NBA Finals in the last 4 years and 3 conference finals in the last 4 seasons with Jimmy Butler leading the pack. Jimmy Butler, not even considered to be a top 15 player in many people's eyes. He's not even a top 20 player in the regular season. He has never been close to winning a regular season MVP award. But you think Jimmy Butler cares about that? No. All Jimmy Butler cares about is playoff basketball and trying to win and compete for a championship. And that's what championship level players do. Jimmy Butler, there's no superstar in today's NBA that maximize their skill set and use all their qualities as much as Jimmy Butler to enhance his career. A lot of players that have Jimmy Butler's similar skill set, no, he's not the most athletic player. He does not jump the highest. He's not the best physical specimen out there. He does not have the best jump shot. Jimmy Butler, he's not the best athlete, but he has the most heart. He competes at the highest level. He wants to win as badly as anybody, and he works his ass off from the Chicago Bulls Tom Thibodeau days, which is why Jimmy Butler is where he is now, by sheer will and determination, plus studying the game and mastering his craft. Jimmy Butler with those pump fakes, he doesn't need to just power everybody. He's super patient, super collective. Watch his film, and Jimmy Butler takes his time and makes stuff happen. He's improved year after year, especially in the playoffs, scoring 47 points in 56 against Milwaukee to scoring 28 points tonight in Game 7, just finding the right place at the right time, getting to the basket. How about Jimmy Butler with those steals, picking off Jaylen Brown multiple times in transition? Man, Jimmy Butler, that's a championship player right there. What coach would not want to coach Jimmy Butler? And I give a lot of credit to both Tom Thibodeau and Eric Spoelstra for elevating Jimmy Butler. Man, if Jimmy Butler is able to pull off this championship, if he's able to somehow, some way beat Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets with Jamal Murray, Jimmy Butler is probably going to be a top 30 player all time. And there's still a lot left to play. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. If the Miami Heat was to knock off the Denver Nuggets, this would be the biggest upset since the 04 Pistons beat the Los Angeles Lakers. And no, That 2011 Dallas team, they did upset Miami, but that's not that big of an upset because that Mavs team, they won 57 games, if I'm not mistaken. They won 57 games that regular season, so they were legit. And for Miami to be in the play-in and to almost lose to the Chicago Bulls in that final play-in, the Chicago Bulls gave the Heat the toughest task for the Eastern Conference. So for all you Chicago Bull fans, don't feel so bad about yourself. Be proud that you barely lost to the Eastern Conference champions. And Jimmy Butler, he's got what? 68 hours before game one at the Mile High in Denver, Colorado, being the first 8 seed since the 1999 Knicks to reach the NBA Finals. What do those teams have in common? They have grit, they have tenacity, they have a lot of heart. The New York Knicks back in the 90s, they had a lot of heart and they had great defense. They had a lot of dogs in them, from Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, Larry Johnson, Marcus Camby off the bench with an injured Patrick Ewing. That Knicks team, I mean, they fought, they competed, they upset it. The number 1 seed favorite Indiana Pacers, they're the number 2, I believe, that year. Miami was the number 1. They upset it number 1 Miami that year. And this Miami Heat team, to knock off Giannis Antetokounmpo in round 1, the New York Knicks, who shit on the Cleveland Cavaliers in round 2, and the Boston Celtics in round 3, to go up 3-0, and Miami fell apart a little bit. They were ahead of themselves. They're probably that was not too close of a call because Miami, yeah, they were supposed to lose like one of those games. They weren't even supposed to win this series. So, I mean, they were a no-show in game 5 and 6 and game 4 and 5, but game 6, they should have won that. But if it wasn't for Derek White, and to win like this in game 7, this is bittersweet. Kudos to the Miami Heat. Wow. And they're the second AC to make the NBA Finals. That's going to be a super daunting task. I see the Denver Nuggets at like a minus 600. Like, many people are going to pick Denver. Some people are going to pick Miami. I expect Heat culture to take a couple games, but Bam Adebayo's got to figure his shit out. Because if he's missing all these bunnies like that, he was a travesty offensively. He had Derek White on him down low, and he still misses those bunnies. Bam has been shit scoring the ball. And for him to be able to try to guard Jokic, Jokic is just gonna shit all over him. And Jimmy Butler's needs to go 1993 Michael Jordan. Jimmy Butler, as great as he's played against the Milwaukee Bucks and how he beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee's a team that they had a pretty bad coach in Budenholzer who made 0 adjustments, and Giannis is not one of the best offensive players when it comes to executing in the fourth quarter time, because if you limit Giannis's game, he can easily get exposed if you put big bodies on him. Giannis doesn't have that vision of Nikola Jokic. He also doesn't have a jumper, and he's also a bad free throw shooter, which cost Milwaukee some losses. There's no flaws in Jokic's game offensively. When you take a look at Jokic's whole package, he's got that step back jump shot, like the one-legged Dirk fadeaway. No one can stop that. And Jokic always got to find the right play. They got knockdown shooters. Jamal Murray's a way better three-point shooter than anybody Miami has. Michael Porter's a better three-point shooter pretty much than anybody the Heat has. KCP, look what he did to Miami in the finals 3 years ago. And Aaron Gordon's a big body that he can throw at Jimmy Butler. So when you look at this matchup between Miami and Denver, Miami has a slight chance, man. They're going to have a slight chance. And the Denver Nuggets, I think they're going to easily win this series. It's going to be 5 or 6 games, one of either way. But I do think that Jimmy Butler's going to fight back, and Game 1 is going to be really tough for Miami. I can see either Miami stealing Game 1 by the skin of their teeth, winning a super close one, or I just see Denver blowing them out by 20 plus, because Denver Nuggets, they have 9 days off. They don't even have to go anywhere since last Monday. They literally swept the Lakers a month ago. No, a week ago, a week ago. But it felt like a month ago with how long it's been. So Nikola Jokic, he's not going to make the same mistakes as Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. I mean, Boston's ISO offense, I mean, Miami just beat that team in 7, but against Jokic and his master of finding the open man at the right time, Nikola Jokic is the best offensive player in the NBA. And for 6'8" Bam Adebayo to try to guard him, it's gonna be abuse. It's gonna be abuse. But onto the Miami Boston game, I still want to talk a little bit more about that game. I mean, the Celtics had the early lead in the first quarter, but they were an absolute travesty. They missed like they went 0 of 10 from 3 in the first, and they missed the first 12. And it took a while for Jimmy Butler to really start cooking after Tatum sprained his ankle, and Boston had like a 11-8 lead before Miami made some shots. Matt Strus also hit a big three in the first. And then also when I saw Haywood Heisman, out of all people, stripping Jason Tatum and getting a transition bucket in the first quarter, it opened up a lot of doors for Miami. And Boston just did not change their game plan. They were absolutely terrible. Had that been another good coach like an Ime Udoka or Greg Popovich, they would have called timeout and they would have told their players, like, stop shooting threes, stop playing like shit, execute better basketball. But you know what happened? Boston continued to play like shit, and they continued to break many threes. And Jaylen Brown, with his terrible dribbling, he has not worked on his game and got better with his handles. Jaylen Brown is still missing that. I give credit for him playing hard and trying, but Jaylen Brown has a lot of flaws. I mean, he still has a lot of flaws. He's not worth a Supermax contract. He's not a top 15 player in the NBA. He is not in the same class as the Devin Bookers and the Jimmy Butlers of the world. Not even close, man. Not even close. I mean, Jaylen Brown has been just awful at dribbling the ball. I mean, the only success I saw Jaylen Brown have when he saw Duncan Robinson on him and he outmuscled him. But Jaylen Brown has been absolutely terrible tonight. And when Al Horford finally hit the first three for Boston to make it 27-18, Boston fans finally breathed, but Miami just kept going. Every time it seemed like Boston was trying to narrow the deficit to like 9 or 8 or 7, Miami always had to respond. They were super confident early in the second quarter. How about Duncan Robinson, from getting benched for most of the season, getting DNP's last playoffs, to putting up good activity, knocking down a three-point shot? He did not get disgruntled after missing 2 wide open threes in game 6, and for Kyle Lowry to also knock down a jumper after he's been a roller coaster this season, and to step up like that. How about him also hitting a tough fadeaway jumper on Jaylen Brown? I believe that was in the second half. That gave Miami a lot of confidence boosters, and Boston also falling. They failed to step up on the screen and rolls. They failed. Why do you go under the screens like that? Have they not learned from playing so much basketball? I mean, this is the dumbest, most experienced team I have ever seen. All my years of watching NBA basketball, from the 2017 playoffs until now with Jaylen Brown. Like, look at how many game 7s JB and JT and Al Horford, all these guys played, and they make a lot of these stupid mistakes. They don't really communicate as much. They really don't. Who said to stop smoking crack? I don't do drugs. So chill out over here. I am not. I'm hating on JB. He played like shit today. Did you not watch the game? He was terrible. Jaylen Brown is the JB that I'm referring to. I barely hear anyone call Jimmy Butler JB. But Boston just failed to step up, and Jason Tatum just didn't have it because he was hurt. They started 4 of 6 from the field. Then they went 4 of 26. And how about Gabe Vincent? Like, this one play in the game really helped Miami continue their momentum. And when the Boston Celtics crowd, it was like in the middle of the second quarter, when everyone was standing up, it was getting loud and crazy at the arena. Gabe Vincent responded. He hit a jumper to silence the crowd. I believe it was like 42-31. And Gabe Vincent just hit a 3, and everybody in the Garden absolutely just sat their asses down. And it seemed like the momentum was going to Boston, like at certain points. After Bam Adebayo picked up his third foul, and Jason Tatum cut it to 47-39. And then Jimmy Butler, out of all people, responded with a corner 3-point shot. And what happened afterwards? Jimmy Butler responded again. He got a steal, had a great anticipation, and Jimmy Butler, bang, he hit a floater, made it 52-39. So you see when Boston tried to cut the deficit to single digits, they were down 8. Jimmy Butler flipped the switch, and he made it a 13-point game again. Jimmy Butler also started the third quarter with a catch-and-shoot bomb to make it 55-41. When everybody thought Boston, they're going to go all out in the second half. And how about like Jason Tatum also had a really bad travel. Derek White had played good defense on Gabe Vincent. Jimmy Butler just continued the momentum, and the Miami Heat being able to respond after every Boston Celtic answer when they were trying to get close. That's championship material right there. They might not be a championship team on paper, but they have championship heart. They play as tough as anybody in the NBA. Even if the Heat don't win this season's title, they're going to be remembered for being super respected, for having that heart and grit. This is why a lot of people still talk about the Patrick Ewing Knicks. And no, the Knicks did not win a championship with Ewing. Unfortunately, they lost to the better Hakeem Olajuwon. But everyone's going to respect the heart and the effort shown each and every night, going to war, hustling for loose balls. Guys like John Starks came from nothing and turned himself into something. Even though John Starks didn't play well in that game 7, he was undrafted. There was no expectations. John Starks became a one-time All-Star. And that's the trajectory you see from guys like Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin, undrafted guys. Those guys are dogs, man. They're absolute dogs. They hustle. I mean, people still respect the 90s Knicks, even though they didn't win a championship. If the Heat don't win a championship this season and lose to the better Denver Nuggets team, their fans should still be absolutely proud of them, proud for how they competed, how they contained guys like Giannis and upset it and beat Giannis twice in 4 years in the playoffs, and even competed with Boston Celtics last year, even though they were undermatched, and they still had a chance to win it. And guess what? Everyone thought the Miami Heat, including myself, we thought they were going to be done this year. Like, they were a 500 in the regular season, and I was kind of sleeping on them too. I was like, no, this team's not going to be that good. I mean, I just don't see it. They get blown out by bad teams I saw. But to be in the play-in like that, after losing to the Atlanta Hawks in the play-in, we all thought Miami had no chance whatsoever, and they were going to get destroyed by Milwaukee. But yes, Giannis did get injured, and Miami did the improbable. They proved everybody wrong. This just goes to show, if you have a guy like Jimmy Butler who's willing to put everything on the line, willing to fight, willing to back up his trash talk, have that DNA dog mentality in him, you always have a chance, even if it's the slightest of the 0.1%, because Jimmy Butler proved this attitude, anything is possible with the Miami Heat. And that organization, one of the best free agent signings that no one even talks about. Everyone in 2019, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, to the Clippers. Oh, they're going to win it all. Oh, look at them. KD, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving to the Brooklyn Nets. They shit the bed. But Jimmy motherfucking Butler to the Miami Heat. Slept on, laughed at, criticized for not remaining with the Sixers. Look at what the Clippers, how many NBA Finals appearances they got. The Brooklyn Nets, how many finals with KD and Kyrie? How many playoff series won? Once. The Miami Heat, NBA Finals, twice. 2 times. Jimmy Butler, my goodness. Can't say enough good things about him. Can't say enough good things about Matt Strus too, who competed. He was tough. Derek White kept Boston in it. If it wasn't for Derek White, Boston would have gotten blown out by 40, in my opinion, because he was aggressive in this game. But Caleb Martin in that third quarter, many thought he should have won most valuable player for the Eastern Conference. Caleb Martin hit that back-to-back jumpers to make it 63-51. It was still a 12-point game in the third quarter, and Robert Williams played some good defense. But then, like Bam Adebayo, I thought he was going to fuck things up for Miami. He had a couple miss easy shots, and then Derek White scored to make it 66-58. Like, if Bam Adebayo would have finished that, it would have been a 12-point Miami lead. But then it was only an 8-point game. And after that, like everyone thought, like, oh, if Boston could get another stop, maybe Jason Tatum will hit a three, maybe Jaylen Brown will get things going. But guess what happened? The undrafted Caleb Martin responded with hitting a three, and he hit a fadeaway jumper, not a three, but two back-to-back jumpers. How about that fadeaway when he almost lost the ball? He dribbled to the other side of the court, and he just boom, he just drained that jumper like he was Kobe. Caleb Martin, man, one of the best bargains in the NBA. Caleb Martin, he was really good at Nevada. I watched him play in the NCAA tournament somewhere in Middle America right now. Eric Musselman, shirtless and partying like it's March Madness. Caleb Martin playing his best basketball of his career. And how about the Charlotte Hornets? They waived Caleb Martin 2 years ago. No wonder why that franchise sucks. Caleb Martin outscoring anybody on Boston. Jason Tatum was hobbled. He was super hobbled. The way how he played today was kind of like how Joel Embiid was hobbling most of the playoffs. And how Jaylen Brown played, he was as bad as Embiid and Harden when they played their game sevens. Jaylen Brown was just terrible. 6 playoff losses at home, the most all time for this Boston Celtics team. And you're talking about the Miami Heat with Caleb Martin. He just signed a 3-year deal worth $20 million last offseason, and he's not a free agent until 2025. But that man's gonna get paid, man. He's gonna get paid. Gabe Vincent, $1.8 million in salary. He's gonna get paid. Kudos to Gabe Vincent. I remember when Stephen A. Smith mocked Gabe Vincent's name when he was on the national team and mocking all those like pronunciations. And Gabe Vincent called out Stephen A. Smith. Everyone knows who Gabe Vincent is now, starting point guard for the NBA Finals. How about that remarkable story? Eric Spoelstra, the GOAT coach, his 6th NBA Finals appearance. Same as Greg Popovich. I did not know that. Whoa, that's just crazy to think about. Yeah, Eric Spoelstra, he hasn't been in the league as long as Pop, but to make 6 NBA Finals like that, and doing so under the LeBron Wade Heat and now the Jimmy Butler Heat. I mean, Eric Spoelstra, let's hope he's going to be coaching for the next 10 years for the Miami Heat. I mean, if the Miami Heat somehow win the championship, even if they don't win the championship, if Spo sticks around for 5 more years and they continue to have a lot of playoff success, Eric Spoelstra deserves a statue outside of the arena 15 years from now, whenever he decides to retire, and if he never gets fired, which I don't think he will. Eric Spoelstra is just an unbelievable head coach. Why wouldn't any NBA player want to play for a guy like Spo? Kevin Love in the finals. They probably gonna have to play him to guard Jokic, but Jokic gonna shit on him bad. I thought Kevin Love was gonna play tonight because he's one of the most experienced players. I mean, he was good in the 2016 Game 7 against Golden State. So Kevin Love in the NBA Finals, thanks to Jimmy Butler. The Cavs are such a travesty, man. They're such a travesty for getting rid of Kevin Love for absolutely nobody. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Now I'm going to just scroll through the comments. There's going to be a couple more days till we relax, till the NBA Finals. Let's see. Heat wins tonight, flying to Europe. Have a good trip. Europe's going to be lit. Going to be a lot of Jokic fans out there. I knew the Heat were going to take it. If Miami beats Denver, it will be the toughest path to a championship. It's definitely up there. Probably the most impressive. In terms of competition, I wouldn't say it's like the toughest. I still say the 2011 Mavs and the 95 Rockets are still the toughest just because of all the all-time greats that they beat. The Nuggets haven't lost versus the Heat at home since 2016 when Jamal Murray and Jokic was coming off the bench. Jamal Murray. Any chance Jamal Murray gets Finals MVP? Who knows if he does? That's going to solidify his legacy. Who this Van Lee guy? He's been trying to disrespect the Nuggets all day long with me. Defense ranked 15, not good enough to win a championship. I guess you didn't watch the Western Conference playoffs. Denver's by far the best team right now, speaking. They lost in the first possession of the game. I agree. Nuggets in 5, unless playoff Jimmy manages to steal both games in Denver. It's hard to win in Denver, though. That altitude, man. Like, think about the Lakers. Like, they had to play the Nuggets in that altitude. They tried to come back for game 1, but they were gassed. They looked absolutely gassed, even though they made it competitive. Miami, I think, is going to make it competitive a couple of those games, but that altitude is going to have an effect. And the Denver Nuggets, like, Miami plays in Denver once a year. I mean, that's something that they definitely did not anticipate or prepare to play, but now they are. It's going to be tough to play in Denver. Wow, Jokic. You know what happened with Jokic after destroying Miami like a year and a half ago? He went to the club and partied. And there is a little bit of history right there with Jokic and Jimmy Butler. Boston shot themselves up in the foot. They should have kept Udoka. While they respected in the workplace environment, Udoka just couldn't keep his hands to himself. Glenn Rivers. Glenn about to get a job with the Suns? Hell no. I saw a tweet today that if Glenn Rivers was coaching the Suns and they had a 3-0 lead, and that team would probably be the first to blow a 3-0 lead with Glenn Rivers. That's probably going to happen. Like, if you were to ask me, like, who's going to be the next team to blow a 3-0 lead under which head coach? I can't tell you the team, but that coach, 75% chance is going to be Doc Rivers. Bam in a nightmare finals. Yep. Jamal better than J.A. Better than Jason Tatum. Not that far. Nuggets in 5. Jokic going to cook out a bio. Yes, he will. It comes down to who wants it more. I think that both teams want it more. The Denver Nuggets swept the Lakers. They did not slow down, and they kept focus. Miami Heat zone will not work. No, hell no. Jokic is the best passer in the game. He sees every little angles. Every time somebody cuts, whether it's like Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter for the 3, it's going to be really tough. Miami doesn't have a lot of size, and that's also a big difference between the series. When you take a look at the Miami Heat, they start like Caleb Barton and Butler. Jimmy Butler's the second tallest player on the starting lineup. Matt Strus is like 6'5", Gabe Vincent's 6 foot, and Bam Adebayo is only 6'8". Against guys like Jokic, who's 7 feet, Aaron Gordon, who's 6'8", Michael Porter's 2 inches taller than Bam. Michael Porter's 6'10", and if Michael Porter can shoot over Bam, it's going to be super troubling for a team like the Heat. And the Denver Nuggets, they can crash the glass too with MPJ. He's taller than anybody on the floor for over Miami. I mean, he's also taller than Kevin Love. And if you have Cody Zeller out there for Miami guarding Jokic, it's going to be one of the worst white-on-white crimes you will ever witness on a basketball court. That would just be absolutely brutal. Trae Young, Steph Curry, and half a series, James Harden destroyed the Celtics coverage. They did. If Boston was able to pull it out tonight, I would have had Denver beating them as well. Boston, they just don't change from their old habits. They just don't. Gabe Vincent showed up. Boston, they do need a new coach. And they also lost Will Hardy, who was an excellent coach for the Utah Jazz. He was a great X's and O's guy. And yeah, Boston's lack of coaching definitely hurt them for sure. Jimmy Butler better than Jason Tatum all time? Yeah, Jimmy Butler played longer, and he's much older too. JT's still like 25, so he's got time. Would it be crazy if an 8 seed wins? Absolutely, it would be crazy. Appreciate your support, Delbert Grady. Did you see what Scottie Pippen said? Scottie Pippen having an old man crisis breakdown right there. Just terrible, man. Scottie Pippen opened his mouth and talked shit about MJ, and MJ just sent his son to do his dirty work. Scottie Pippen can't recover from that one, but I pray for Scottie Pippen's health. Doesn't It seems like he's going through a lot of shit, and I hope he gets better. One worse eight back to round one again. Just kidding. That's crazy. Denver, Miami. If it was like a 1-16 tournament, like for basketball, Denver, Miami would have been like round one of them. If it was no East versus West. Can't believe the Bulls traded Jimmy Butler and Chris Dunn. Yeah, and Chris Dunn was good for Utah. Boston just ran out of gas. Nah, they just didn't have it. They did not have it. Miami has some of the best fans. They're passionate for sure. Kendrick Frogkins. Kendrick Perkins better pray for the Heat to get it done. He's not going to like when Jokic wins it all. Tobias Harris over me? Where's Tobias Harris? Hasn't gotten out of the second round. Caleb Martin in Game 7 better than James Harden in Game 7? Yeah. Matt Strus was better than James Harden last Game 6 a year ago. High-paid players should be embarrassed by the performance of these undrafted players. Yeah, I agree. With the salary cap catering to the Supermax contract, guys, if guys like Jason Tatum going to make like 60 mil a year and guys like Jaylen Brown going to make 50, and I listened to the Bill Simmons podcast yesterday, so if Tatum and Brown make a combined 110 a year and there's only $70 million left for the remaining 13 players, how the fuck are the other NBA players that are good role players going to make their money? If you got a superstar that's making 60 mil, that's going to play like shit, or if he gets hurt in the playoff at the wrong time, you can't really trust one guy to be a Supermax guy that's going to take like 35% of your cap space, unless you're a superstar like a Nikola Jokic or a Luka Doncic. I mean, but Jason Tatum's not at that level. He's not better than Luka, in my opinion. Jason Tatum's a top 10 player, but in terms of being a top 3, he's not there yet. He's not there. He's just not. And for a Supermax guy like a Jaylen Brown, who potentially can be making $292 million, making 50 mil a year, and then you got a guy that's better than him in Jason Tatum. And if Brown's gonna make 50 mil, like all the other 13 guys gonna make a little more than him, that's just wrong right there. They can't afford to pay someone like a Grant Williams. He's gone. So with that, the salary issues can be definitely concerning for the future time. Like all these star players, they are getting paid too much. Like if Bradley Beal, guys like him and Zach LaVine's gonna take like 30% of your cap space, and they just suck and can't elevate their team, and they get paid as much as the Steph Currys and Jokic, that's a disaster right there. Not everybody can be a top 10 player in the NBA. And if you're paying like the 30th best player super max money, like you're paying similar range to Jokic or Curry, your team's gonna be screwed. Kendrick Perkins, where you at? Probably gonna cry tomorrow on ESPN. Everyone gonna be on Denver. How about all the ESPN, all the knuckleheads, all the mainstream media, from disrespectful Nick Wright to Chris Mannix, dismissing the Denver Nuggets? They gotta fly out to Denver and feel the altitude and watch Jokic put on a masterclass. So I'll stick around for a couple more minutes. So let me know if you guys have any questions in this chat. More of the Denver Nuggets Miami Heat series. I'm picking Denver to win in 6 games. That's my early prediction right now. I do think that Miami, Jimmy Butler's gonna fight and work his ass off. He won 2 games 3 years ago when the team was supposed to get swept by the Lakers. When Bam Adebayo was hurt, when Goran Dragic went down after Game 1, and he was a shell of himself in Game 6. I believe that to beat the Denver Nuggets, you have to get Jokic in foul trouble. You just have to. Jokic gasses out after 3 quarters. I don't know what you're watching, man. What did Jokic do in the fourth quarter? He hit a crazy fadeaway on Anthony Davis. LeBron was the one who gasses out. Jokic moves like refrigerator. Well, Jokic is 100 times better than Bam Adebayo. Jamal Murray's got good offense too. Like Miami, they're just not talented enough to beat Denver. And Mike Malone's also a hell of a coach. Unless Denver just laughs at Miami and just considers them an 8 seed and don't take it seriously, and Denver slacks off like they did the last month of the regular season, then I do give Miami a chance in that department. But if Jokic plays like Jokic, like he did all playoffs, I don't see the Heat having much of a chance. The way how Jokic destroyed Rudy Gobert, who's the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and how he shit on Karl Anthony Towns and almost swept the Minnesota Timberwolves. They almost swept them, and they almost came back. Like Denver, the one good thing about that team is, like, even if they're down 10, they know how to come back from big deficits. And they just gave Minnesota that Game 4 because they kind of felt bad for them. And like how the Phoenix Suns beat the Denver Nuggets, Devin Booker went bananas. Devin Booker had some of the best games of his career. And both Book and KD's had like 80-something points combined. And the Suns barely beat Denver with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant playing insane. They played insane. You really think Denver's going to lose 4 games to a team led by Miami? And who's Miami's second best player? Who? Bam Adebayo? Hell no. Jokic is just so much better than everybody, and he's better than Jimmy Butler too. He's a lot better than Jimmy Butler. You got Heat in 6. Heat got the experience. Okay. Denver's got experience too now. KCP. He was the 3rd best player for the Lakers those finals. Yeah, Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry's 37 years old. If Kyle Lowry was himself like 2 years ago, then I think it would be a much more competitive series. But I just don't think that he'll have enough. How about guys like Bruce Brown, who's great on defense? You see what Bruce Brown did in Game 2 against LeBron? Bruce Brown, offensively, he destroyed D'Angelo Russell. And on the other end, when the Lakers still had a chance, they were down 5. He stripped the ball from LeBron James in Game 2, and the game was over. The Lakers still had a 0.1% chance, but LeBron was bringing the ball up the court, and Bruce Brown just took his shit, and then he dribbled out the clock. That's what Bruce Brown is able to do. And if Bruce Brown is going to ignore Jimmy Butler like that, it's going to be trouble. I don't see Bruce Brown guarding Jimmy Butler, but I see him being a pest against Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin. KCP's also amazing. You really think Miami's going to win Game 1 traveling to Denver in that altitude like that? When was the last time Jimmy Butler been to Denver? It's probably been a while back. And if you don't travel to a place like Denver or Utah very often, you're going to get some of the altitude experience. If you guys ever visit Denver, if you're from the East Coast and you feel the altitude, you know what I'm talking about. So you got to be super fit. And it's just like too bad that Miami, it took them 7 games. They could have been flying out to Denver probably today had they won Game 6. But they probably going to fly tomorrow. And then they're going to, after tonight, they're going to rest. Tomorrow, they're going to fly out and probably not practice, like take an entire rest. And then on Wednesday, they have to fully prepare. They're probably going to do some super light stuff. And Thursday is Game 1. So it's going to be really tough for Miami to go to Denver like that. From beautiful, nice South Beach weather, 85 degrees, bikinis everywhere, to the Rocky Mountains of Denver, Colorado, with the Jokic brothers in the stands cursing the Heat out. It's going to be intimidating at first, but Miami, they have the experience. But can guys like Duncan Robinson, dude, like the Denver Nuggets are so good offensively. If they have Duncan Robinson in the game, like he's gonna get destroyed by Aaron Gordon. He'll just muscle him, just like how Jaylen Brown and Derek White did today. Or they're gonna have Michael Porter's gonna destroy Duncan Robinson too. So I do. I love to see a good series. I love to see this go to 6, 7 games, but that's probably not going to happen. That's probably not going to happen because the Miami Heat, from a talent perspective, they have to play almost perfect to beat the Denver Nuggets. And even if Jimmy Butler played like he did against the Bucks series, like he did against Giannis and Brook Lopez, I still don't think it will be enough to beat those close games against the Bucks because they executed better. Denver's one of the best execution teams in the fourth quarter. You can rewatch that series against with the Lakers. If the Lakers were to play the Miami Heat in the playoffs, not the finals, but if the Lakers and Heat match up, a lot of you guys would have the Lakers in 6, and the Lakers would be the favorite to win that series without a question of a doubt because they still have LeBron and AD against Jimmy Butler and Bam. That's a really close matchup, but obviously LeBron and AD are the more talented players, and the Lakers got better role players. Austin Reeves, similar to Gabe Vincent, super tough. And for the Lakers to win 0 games against the Denver Nuggets, 0, it just goes to show that the Nuggets are championship quality and they're ready for the big moments and the big stages. So if you question the Denver Nuggets defense, you just haven't been watching close enough, man. The Denver Nuggets in game 4, what happened in the last possession? Jamal Murray locked up LeBron James. LeBron tried to drive to the basket. He went left and he got his shit tied up by Jamal Murray. And Aaron Gordon had his hands up in there, blocked the shot a little bit, and time ran out. Look at that defense by Jamal Murray. That's championship level execution. How about game 2 when everyone thought LeBron was going to have an easy alley-oop after that timeout designed by Darvin Ham, and Jamal Murray just deflected that from LeBron. Those are some of the momentum-changing plays that from the Denver Nuggets we have not seen from seasons past. This is a complete team. The Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat, both super hungry to win the title. Tyler Hero for game 3. He might be back game 3 early as he's going through some drills and his hand is obviously still a mess. But it's going to be really tough. It's going to be a good series. I'm going to talk a lot of NBA. Probably make a video or 2 before the final. So if you haven't subscribed and you want to learn more about the NBA, I appreciate all of you if you continue to subscribe. If you haven't already, anything about NBA history, NBA current stuff. So I still have a minute or 2. Anybody that wants to ask me an NBA trivia question, I'm going to answer it right now. If you do have it, but if you don't, that's fine. Miami have to keep up with Denver's offense. Plus, the altitude's fucking tough. I mean, if game 1 was in Miami, if Miami had home court, I would give Miami a way better shot at winning the first 2. But they have to go to freaking Denver in that altitude. Man. And Jokic has been the best player in the playoffs. I mean, the Miami Heat went from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to Nikola Jokic. I mean, Jaylen Brown's probably the 20th best player in the NBA, and Jason Tatum's probably like between 5 to 8. Nikola Jokic is the best player, even better than Jimmy Butler, even better than playoff Jimmy. Jamal Murray's been absolutely amazing. Jamal Murray these playoffs has Jamal Murray in this playoffs has been better than Jimmy Butler. So with that said, 1951, I believe the Royals was the one that beat the Knicks in the finals. The Knicks almost came back. The Knicks were the closest team to still come back from Game 7. They still were. I mean, they lost that Game 7 was like 79-75. I was looking up the box score the other day. No slam dunk contest in 1999. So I'm out. Thank you guys so much for your support. And I got the Denver Nuggets beating the Miami Heat in 6 games. But kudos to the Heat and Eric Spoelstra for beating the Boston Celtics. Hell of a season. Much more basketball to be played within the next couple weeks. June 1st, 8:30 Eastern, Miami Heat, Denver Nuggets 2023 NBA Finals. And I'll see you after that game right here on YouTube. Wilson Tsai, my name. Peace out, y'all. Have a great night.